Good morning, Matthew. How are
Good
you?
morning. Good morning, Morten. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, and I hope that you can feel that I'm excited. I'm excited about meeting you. I'm excited about Drupa being around the corner. I think all of us have been working so hard, so now we want to go there, right?
No, it's like yeah, as you said, it's 2 weeks away, and you can. It's now is the time where you want to be on site to really start the work. And yeah, no, it's fantastic. But I love the printed assets you're creating, the magazines and the other content. It's really nice to see that physical the physical print working. So.
I will come and give you one copy personally because there is actually, I think, also from a Canon perspective, we have no. I mean, everything is editorial content, so it's not like any paid content. We have a few advertisers in it, but what I think you will like is we have the history of inkjet, and I don't know if the audience know that, but it's super interesting to think of that Canon and HP at the same time, independently from each other, invented what at that time was called the bubble jet or inkjet. And I think that is, that's a long time ago, but just think where it is today. And Matthew, you work with it every day. So how is it for you to think about inkjet, how important it is in the industry these days?
No, absolutely. It's an amazing technology that its versatility has grown incredibly. When I think about when I first started in print, the early days of digital, those first what we'd call the roll top inkjet printers, the large format printers. Yeah, and you see the development of now what you can physically print with inkjet. It's almost limitless. And I think that means, new business models, new applications. Yeah, so it's. I know there are many stories about the invention of the bubble jet with the soldering iron left on a tube that was then exposed the ability of ink to be jetted with heat. So I think it's come a long way since those years ago.
I mean, that is of course like one thing, but I can't help think about that when I mean you work in the wide format and the large format segment, and with the UV gel, and now today also your ability to make both the gloss varnish and the matte varnishes in one single workflow is. I mean, and when you look at the output and the speed of these machines, I mean, you cannot be much but excited about it, right?
Yeah, no, all the time, these innovations are extending the ability of digital print to be able to support customers' print volumes. So, on the standard Drupa, we're showing examples of interior decor that is probably print volumes that wouldn't exist without digital print because you can now do it in very short runs with examples of our customers who are using artificial intelligence to create the designs for interior decor because decor is one of those industries in a very positive sense. It's seasonal, it's always changing, there's always new trends. So to be first to market with quality content is really important. And then of course that then flows into the digital print. But equally with packaging, less than 2% of packaging worldwide is produced digitally. So a huge opportunity. And with faster and faster digital print through inkjet, now those print volumes can benefit from digital print on demand. So short runs for tests, for versioning, for customization, for packaging to be part of a communications channel. So not just a boring brown box that ships your e-commerce package, but something that becomes a communications touch point for a brand with their customers, whether that's an unboxing experience or just part of a communication that makes offers and enhances the feeling we have about a choice we've made or a purchase we've made that has happened remotely.
I can't help think about because I remember when commercial printers started to invest in large format printers, it was like almost like a business venture that was like, whoa, we can make so much money, and I think that also the OEMs were very happy with all the machines that they could sell to the market, and then I think there came a little bit like commoditization of the print, and maybe I think that maybe volume stabilized a little bit, and those kind of things. Do you still see growth in the market? Do you still see a lot of potential profitability for the potential customers also investing in Canon equipment?
For sure. I mean, it's a growth market. You look at, if I look at some of the research that Keypoint did, I think firstly for the FESPA census they produced last year, I think interesting, you mentioned commercial printers. And what that FESPA census showed was that a couple of years before, about less than 50% of commercial printers owned wide format equipment. So those printing pages. And you can imagine often that would be a large format printer in the corner somewhere, which would perhaps produce posters as part of a client campaign. But actually the FESPA census showed that now it's more than 60% of commercial printers have invested in wide format equipment somewhere. And I think that suggests a need or a desire to diversify and to be able to be more of a one-stop shop for their clients, to be able to produce a campaign that goes from both, could be printed direct mail, could be sales assets, right through to the posters and perhaps, point of sale and signage. So we definitely see that as a trend. So even in our, what you could say, core applications within display graphics, the retail, the exhibition, there's growth there as retailers, for example, fight for footfall, and they have the famous omni-channel, virtual communications, but also getting people in store. And how is this a seamless feeling and looking experience? And I think as well as that is the growth in new print volume opportunities, the interior decor, for retail, the home, businesses, but also packaging as well. So a great mixture of lots of opportunities. So wherever a printer is today, they could grow their print volumes in the same areas they operate, knowing that there are opportunities in core segments, but also to be able to look to diversify. With my skills and resources that I have in-house, how can I perhaps think about new business models or new applications areas as well?
Do you, because I take that you visit a lot of your customers and get a lot of feedback from the market. Do you also see a trend towards in commercial space, we have seen web to print solutions handling like a commercial type of products online? Is that also a trend that you see in a large format?
I think there's a big recognition that automation and workflows will be really important. I think you look at the skills shortage, you look at all businesses that have to do more with less resources and to be more efficient, then automation is one way to do that. At the front of your opportunity with a customer, that web to print could be the right way for you to go, whether that's a private service where it's used for submitting jobs between your existing clients, or it's a public service where you have a web shop. So there's a whole load of opportunities, but I think definitely the automation, and particularly I think in personalized workflows, I think one of the things that is a big consideration when producing personalization is the logistics in-house. How do you make sure that the right personalized items go to the right clients and customers when you're doing versioning? And that takes organization, it takes automation, but also just the space and the layout of your operation. So I think efficiency and those kind of workflows are a big focus, as well as the technology and the applications areas that they apply to.
Mathew, I can see that the screen behind you, that is obviously your booth from Drupa. You are in the large format space, so you of course takes the 90% of the entire booth, right?
I would say it's more 50-50 with our colleagues from the small format. But yeah, we have
that's unfair, isn't it?
Fortunate to be able to produce some amazing applications, but also the technologies that we're showing our whole production print portfolio, which is really a fantastic thing. And for my part, I'm responsible on the Drupa stand for what we're calling the core. Which is right at the center of the stand, which is an immersive sensory experience. So 7.5 minutes long, and for us it tells the story of the Power to Print, which is our new campaign. And the power to print for us is about two things. The power to move, sorry. It's about print's power to be able to move emotionally, but also about print's power to be able to help transform a business. And in this theatre in the centre of the stand, we'll tell that story. You know, we know print can tell stories, it can communicate, it can cut through the digital fatigue in an emotional way. But it can also bring new innovations, new business models, new technologies that help transform a business as it moves forward. And I think if I think about that emotional part, in the print industry, we know a lot about the effectiveness of print, and we all use lots of stats that, you know, print stays in the home longer for 20 days more than an email, which is really fleeting. You remember more when you read something in print than when you read it on screen. But I think for us, what's really important to understand is, why is that the case? And getting behind those stats to really understand. And it enables then brands to think quite differently about the relationship that they have with their customers over a period of time. And it enables print service providers to also be that expert advisor. And if you don't mind, Morten, I'm going to get emotional on you for a second, because
Please.
one of the things that we've looked at in this, I suppose, thinking about customer journeys for brands with their customers, is how you build a relationship when it's at arm's length and it's virtual communications, which could be a mixture of digital and print or solely print. And there was a psychologist in the 1950s called Robert Plutchik who agreed that in psychological terms, there are 4 core emotions. So happiness, sadness, fear, disgust, anger, surprise. But actually, you'd probably agree, it's much more nuanced. You know, emotions are much more kind of subtle than that. And he proposed this emotional wheel, which is a bit like a colour wheel of emotions that are opposite each other, but also that have a relationship to each other. And around the edge of this wheel, there's the lighter touch emotions, so acceptance and boredom and disinterest. But as you go to the middle, there's the much stronger emotions that build up. So if you think about a customer journey that could be one touch point, could be many, they could happen in any order, they could be at any time of day or night. You've got no control over a customer journey that perhaps used to be a little bit linear. So why not, as brands, and therefore as printers who can then be the expert consultants in using print in this way, why not think about taking our customers on a journey that builds positively, so from acceptance through to trust and then into real admiration, because you then cultivate, you know, brand fans of your business, and at all times avoiding the negative emotions. Let's not take our customers on a journey of boredom, disgust, and loathing. That would be a negative. Because when we can think in this way, it enables, for example, virtual communications to go from being very meaningful. If they're meaningful, they're timely, they're appropriate, relevant, and thoughtful. A virtual communication, like a direct mail, can then be really impactful. Someone's thought about me, they know what my interests and preferences are, and I've now got an offer that really is interesting, and I'm going to take action. And I think when you do that, we know so much about our customers today that it's possible to create these really smooth and kind of intimate customer journeys. And I think that, to me, is something that marketeers of a few years ago could only have dreamt of. And when it's done well, it becomes a really powerful thing. In the same way, if we think about... Sorry, go ahead, Morten.
No, I was just, so that is also some of the things where when people go to Drupa, they will have the chance to talk to you and your team about, let's say, the emotional thing. And I think it makes perfect sense when you also have the tactile kind of experience with what you can print today. It makes perfect sense, right?
No, exactly, yeah. So in the core, we're going to use a version of our World Unseen campaign, which was that exhibition for the blind and visually impaired, which was about how can anybody should be able to experience imagery, no matter what their level of sight, not just the sighted. So we created this tactile experience that enables us to tell those stories through touch. And in the core, we'll have that World Unseen as part of that, but actually in a way that it's not possible to experience anywhere outside of Drupa. And then I think the same, if you then apply the power to move to physical and experiential. If you go into a retail store, it needs to be, comfortable, frictionless, inviting, helpful. And it sounds really obvious to be criteria for a retail environment. But actually, how many times have you been in a shop, you can't find what you're looking for, there's no one to ask, the signage and wayfinding is not helping you. And there's also a principle, if we go back to getting behind why is a journey frictionless and comfortable when others are frustrating and otherwise, in a physical environment like retail, there's a lot of it is to do with our evolutionary hardwiring. And it's why I've got a picture of the savannah in this meeting room, kind of war graphics. But actually, it's been proved that in pre-human history, when we were literally, pre-humans coming down from the trees, it was a stressful era. And what we looked for is two things. One is refuge and one is prospect. So refuge means, do I feel safe? Could I find safety? In this savannah image, I could find safety up the tree if I was being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or something. But actually prospect, in our outlook, we look for, do I have the things that could sustain me? Now, obviously, consciously today, when we go into a retail store or a hotel, we don't think refuge and prospect, but it's in our evolutionary hardwiring. So actually, unconsciously, we do look for those things. So the next time you're paying 50 euros extra for a sea view in a hotel room, it's not because it's pretty. Our conscious brain says it's pretty, but actually it gives us comfort that we have this outlook. And when you understand these kind of effects on our brain and how we are comfortable in a space, and therefore what makes it productive in an office sense, what makes it productive in the way I'm happy to make a purchase in a retail store, when you get behind that, and as a print service provider, you can then start to think for your clients that in this new decor print volumes, you can help them with some of these concepts. And they're fairly common environmental studies, but if you say, Morten, it's something that we'll have on the stand as these discussions, because it becomes a very powerful thing about how you think about the applications you print, how you design the spaces, how you design the communications. And it's a really interesting way to look at this as a printer who can advise their clients.
I must say that I'm very intrigued about what you have said. And if I look a little bit around from time to time, it's because it's a one-man army, so I have to take care of the next guest and the technology and does the camera work, does the streaming work. So sorry for that, but I listened to everything. And Matthew, I think it was a super good introduction and a very good reason for people to go and talk to you and your team at Drupa. I want to compliment you also for your booth. I think it looks super nice. And as always, Canon is one of the companies that also show applications on the edge of what most people do. So I always think that it's a good inspiration to go and see and touch, as you say, and learn from you guys. So I want to say thank you very much for your time here. And now I have to throw you out because we have a dense program today, as you know. So I would like to talk to the next guest in after this little jingle. So thank you very much, Matthew, and see you soon at Drupa.
Thanks, Morten. See you soon. Cheers.